how many times do you say we need overtime, and then how many volunteers do you get for overtime?
Oh,
but
then
Lord,
yes.
You have those same people
complaining about their check.
Right.
Few with the bosses view. You gotta sacrifice. You wanna move like bosses move.
YMA, Young Millionaires Association. Yeah, see, that's the association.
All right, guys. Welcome to the YMA Nation podcast, episode number 33.
We're at 33 already.
See, now that's the number. See, on Monday, I had Siege on here. He was talking about the number 32, but the number 33 is powerful.
33.
33 is powerful, guys. I am Joe Wallace, and this is
Rebecca Wallace.
And today is Real Estate Wednesday. It's your show.
It's my show.
Real Estate Wednesday. If you're on right now, make sure you take a couple of seconds, like, comment, and subscribe. You have to comment down in the comment section. You just hashtag YMA Nation so we know that you were on and your name will be in our cash drawing at the end of the month.
All right.
Cash.
Hand claps for cash.
Hand clap for cash. All right, so we have an interesting show today. We're going to part 2.
We are. So I said that I was going to take everything to the step-by-step process. We went in step 1. We started back from square one last week. So what's interesting is we were talking about the topics and looking at what people were searching for online in the Greenville, South Carolina area.
Thank you to our wonderful search engine optimization manager.
Yes.
Jen, thank you.
Thank you, Jen. And so you have brought to my attention, which kind of fits into step 2, which is develop a budget.
Develop a budget.
And one of the things that you said people were searching for is cheap houses, right? And homes under $100,000, right? Was 2 of the things.
That was one of the top 5.
One of the top 5.
Yeah, is people like, and what she means by that is people going online, like on Google and in the search engines and typing in cheap houses in Greenville.
Right.
So the people actually searching. That's one of the top searches, and we telling everybody like what the. Oh. But anyway, you just learned something, right? Free game. So yeah, that's a top search word is cheap houses in Greenville.
Cheap. Right.
Or houses under
$100,000.
Houses under $100,000.
But this is why it fits into step 2, which is create a budget.
Create a budget.
Because why are people searching for those things?
Searching for houses under $100,000
or cheap.
Because they want to stay within a certain budget on what they can afford.
Exactly. Or
hold on.
Gotta
give it give it up for Joe. He's right again. Yeah. Thumbs up.
Or they haven't created a budget. They don't know what they can afford. They are just assuming what they can afford.
How would they make that assumption?
Some people go to like mortgage calculators and just plug in numbers, but they really don't know realistic numbers because they're not familiar with the lending process, interest rates, things like that. What their PMI is going to be with, under 20% down. So insurance cost.
That's interesting. So if I was just the average person and I'm searching online and I go on a mortgage calculator and I say my rent right now is $900 a month. I think that's fair for the Greenville upstate. My rent is $900 a month.
On the low end.
On the low end. And I want to stay around that if I want to buy a house.
Right.
So if I go on a mortgage calculator and I see what would $900 per month buy me in Greenville, then I'm probably searching for a house under $100,000. Is that about right? 25 maybe?
50.
Yeah, for $900 a month?
Yeah, around 150, 175. Somewhere in
so
between there.
That means someone that's searching for a house under $100,000, unless they're an investor,
wants to stay like under $600.
Yeah.
Month.
So,
but we talked about the misconception of, well, if I'm paying $900 a month rent, and I see all these ads talking about why pay rent when you can buy your house,
right?
And people automatically assume, well, it's going to be cheaper because, I'm paying X amount of dollars in rent. And we see that in real estate. Just the difference, people come in and they're like, they say those exact words. I'm paying $1,000 a month of rent right now, but I don't want to pay that to buy a house.
Right. I think that's the ideology that's been created, that people think that if I was to move from paying rent to buying a house, that I'm going to save money.
Right. So we're going to talk about why your budget is so important. And since I have a wonderful financial guru here that owns YMA Financial and can help you with all of your finance and business needs.
YMA Financial, yes. www.ymafinancial.com.
I figured this would be a great topic for you to really be able to be engaged with and give a lot of the knowledge that you have about finances, but also from a real estate perspective, we could talk about why it's so important to budget out things. So in your experience of just budgeting, just a person that wants to sit down and do a budget, what are some key things that you think that someone should have outlined in their budget?
That they should have outlined?
That they should have outlined.
Well, the first thing that you look for is the priority items. So your rent or your mortgage, things that you have to pay, your light bill, your car insurance, gas for the car. If you got a cell phone bill, that may be important if you need that cell phone.
Right.
Most people do. So we start from the top, going down on a priority list, and then you start seeing things that people have, like my child is in ballet or something, which is great if you can afford it.
Right.
But when you doing if I bring in $2,000 per month and my expenses is $2,500, then you're upside down.
Right.
So then you have to start looking, okay, so what can we remove that's not so much of a necessity? And it might be just food. You'd be amazed how much people spend on just food.
I started off checking it every other week, just like most people do. Then it got out of control. I couldn't help myself. I started checking it day after day after day. I didn't realize that I was becoming addicted until my wife said something.
What did she say?
She said, "It's just a credit score, relax."
Are you checking your credit score?
Huh? Hold on.
Eating out, right? And you see people spend $400 or $500 a month on that. People spend $300 on alcohol, like $300 on cigarettes, like those type of things. Like, can you cut this out?
Right. So, thank you for that.
Yes, and it'll help you too, because if you don't smoke so much, then obviously you should have a better life.
Right. And the reason that I bring up budgeting, because in our home buying tips that Masters Credit Consultants will send out to the clients who are on their expedited package, it lists what are your home buying tips. Creating a budget is number 2.
Okay.
Because there's different things that go into that budget. Number 1, you have to be able to understand what you can afford. And number 2, you have to see how much room do you have to save.
Right. Definitely.
Which is another very important part of budgeting, right? Because if you're upside down $500 in your budget, for the example that you gave, how are you going to save anything to be able to buy a house?
You're not, because you're going from check to check trying to see what can I pay right now and what can I hold off on. And that's how you start seeing people have late payments on their car, late payments on their credit cards.
Which is detrimental
to their credit score, which is going to impact your home buying process. Yeah.
So number 1 that we have, I'm going to step back for just a minute.
Okay.
Decide that you want to purchase a home and that you are fully dedicated to that goal. Anyone can want to purchase a home, but how dedicated are you to doing that?
It's a process.
Are you dedicated enough to say, I'm going to cook meals at home, I'm not going to go out, I'm going to decrease on the amount of entertainment, whether it be going out to, Dave and Buster's, Top Golf, somewhere to do things? Am I going to cut that back for a few months? Am I going to cut down on my spending, cut down on my shopping? What am I going to cut back on that is going to create more money for me month to month to be able to save and to be able to pay down debt if I need to, right?
Which will ultimately get me to that goal. Because what we see a lot of times is sometimes you need money just to pay down debt. If a lender says, well, we need for you to pay off this loan, and your loan amount, the balance on the loan is $2,000, but you're upside down $500 a month. How are you going to pay off a $2,000 loan at the drop of a dime? Right.
Because that lender is trying to create more money for you month over month to get you approved for more house or for where you want to be at for, your home buying.
What's important about that too is, and I know you see it all the time, is don't allow it to, people get down and then they're like, oh, well, it's not going to work. And no, you just step back, and again, it goes back to creating the budget and say, okay, if I cut back, how soon can I have? I'll use that as an example. How soon can I have that $2,000 paid off? If now after cutting back on some leisure items,
right,
I could save $300 per month. Now that $300, how soon can I pay? Like 7 months, I paid off that debt. So now I could plan on, I got to be out of my house in X amount of time. I got the debt paid off in X amount of time. Now it's creating a plan.
All right, so I'm about to step on some people's toes and say some things that they don't like to hear. But it's got to be said, right? If you're making $2,000 a month at your job where you work, and we talk about this all the time, and you're $500 upside down, there is enough places that you could go get a part-time job to make up that difference.
Right.
Like if it's truly, you don't have leisure, you don't have, you've cut back all that you could cut back, because you've done budgets like that, right?
I don't want to say the young lady name online without her permission, but yeah, just did someone and she got her pre-approval, but that young lady, she had to cut out some things for her entire family, but that's dedication. That's dedication. And if we're thinking about the right person, I told her, I said, you have to work X amount of hours for an extended period of time for this to work. Same person.
And it's not to, everyone has their own personal situations.
Right.
I'm not saying that, everyone's life is perfect and they're able to do everything. But when you want something and you are choosing to, if your job says, hey, we have overtime. You've worked in corporate. I've worked in corporate America. How many times do you say we need overtime? And then how many volunteers do you get for overtime?
Oh,
but then
Lord, yes.
You have those same people
complaining about their check.
Right. Yes, I'm saying things that people don't like, but when are you going to start taking control of your own financial situation.
Right.
That goes to budgeting. If you say I'm $500 upside down, if my job offers overtime, 1 day a week, then possibly by the end of the month, I'm going to be in the positive. I'm not going to be upside down. I'll make that difference, that $500 difference.
That's right.
Or if I go get a part-time job, even if I only work that part-time job, 10 hours a week or 12 hours a week, or on the weekends, if I work Monday through Friday, if I get a part-time job for the weekends, what am I willing to sacrifice for a short period of time to get myself in a position to where I'm able to do the things I want to do?
One thing I want to point out, since we're having this conversation, is get ahead of life, right? Get ahead of life where your goals probably now is not to buy a house, but if there's an opportunity to work a second job, if there's an opportunity to get overtime, like when all the employee at a time, they said overtime check sheet came around, you best believe my name was on it. I was trying to get it.
Right.
If you need it or not, get ahead of life, get that extra money, put it in your savings or invest it into something, but now you got extra cushion. So when you're like, okay, I want to buy a house or I'm having car problems, it's not like, where am I going to get the money from? You plan for worst case and you get ahead of life.
And that's a great point. And I know that the last week and this week are a little off of full-blown real estate, but I want people to have a true understanding of what goes into buying a house. I don't like the misinformation, and there's so many times I have meetings with people. How many meetings did we have last week? I mean, it was crazy. Like, booked.
I'm tired for today.
And meetings this week. And, my agent's having meetings. And one of my agents called me twice today just about credit and debt-related questions.
Right.
I'm like, bring them in.
That's right.
Because if you don't have an understanding of those two things, if you don't have an understanding of what your credit is and you don't have an understanding of what your debt is and what your budget is, then you have to get that down pat before you move on to the next step.
Right.
And a lot of people, they don't know these things and they'll just go to a lender. You just wasted an inquiry.
Well, and I think it's just a lack of not knowing, right? People just, they do things because they feel that that's the right step to do, right? So that's why when you watch the podcast, you gain valuable information to help you.
Right, because we want to keep you on course.
Right.
We want to teach you, no, you need to start at this step, and that's why I wanted to take it back to a step-by-step process. Okay. Because, everybody wants to know, I want to be a home buyer tomorrow. How can I do it? Well, it may not be tomorrow.
So
maybe 6 months from now. Right. Maybe 9 months from now. So developing a budget is key. If you don't have a budget, if you don't know how to develop a budget, you can contact Masters Credit Consultants. We will help you. They will guide you. We have a budgeting template that is already created. All you have to do is plug your numbers in.
It's free too, guys.
It's free.
Nothing like gaining information for free.
It's free. All you have to do is call 864-249-9466. We have a great team, and you're getting free tools to be able to help your life and be able to make better decisions and not be hasty when you're going through this process. You're making probably the biggest purchase of your life. You don't want to do it hastily.
Right.
Because then you end up getting in bad situations. So, and we talked about the credit score over 640 last week, so I'm not going to go into that. I really wanted to focus on the budgeting and the financial topics this week because we will have a special guest next week. And it's going to be
special guest. I love
special guest next week. And y'all will want to tune in for that because that's going to lead into our next topic, our next subject, which is getting to the lender. So once you have your goal set that you want to purchase a home and you're dedicated to purchasing a home.
Question for you.
Uh-huh.
So if I'm on the opposite side of, I always say that, if I'm on the opposite side, because I always think on that side too. So I'm thinking, what is a lender? I keep hearing her say that term, lender. What is a lender? Oh, that's part of you. Okay. I will be quiet.
He won't be quiet, but it's okay.
I won't be quiet, but
I love it. So, you have to decide, make it your goal that you want to buy a house. You're dedicated to that.
Okay, got it.
You're going to call Masters Credit, and they're going to send you the budgeting template. And if you have questions and if you need financial analysis, they're going to help you with that. And then you're going to say, hey, the Pyramid Group that's brokered under Keller Williams, it has a great package under Masters Credit Consultants that if I need credit help, I'm able to sign up under that package to get the credit help that I need.
There you go.
To get my score over a 640 where it needs to be. Okay, then you have to, in this time frame, your agent, when you select your agent, if it's the Pyramid Group under Keller Williams, then we're here to guide you through this process. But you still want to do some of your own research. Research is always a good thing, but just because you do the research doesn't mean you have to act on what you find. So I think that's what you were saying. A lot of the misconception and misinformation is people will go, they'll Google it and say, mortgage lenders. Oh, this sounds great. I'll apply.
Right.
Instead of, let me research a couple of lenders, see what they have to offer me, see what their going interest rates are, what type of products do they offer. Just retain information. You don't have to fill out any information. Just go online, search their business, search their testimonials, search their reviews, see what type of business that they do. Because just because your agents have lenders that you can go through and work with, if you say, hey, I've done my research on some lenders and I really think that this would be the best lender for me, your agent's probably going to be like, okay, if you feel comfortable with that lender, that's who we can go through.
Because it's your ultimate decision.
Your decision, yeah. Right. So you want to, don't just put all of your decision making on your agent. Your agent is there for your real estate needs.
Right.
You know, not your lending, not your homeowner's insurance, not your closing attorney.
But they can help guide you,
They can help guide you. But ultimately, you have to do some research on your own too.
I think what she's saying is, like, if I go buy a car right now from whoever, like, they're not going to tell me, well, go to Geico and put insurance on that car, or go to State Farm, right? You got to do your own homework to say, I think State Farm have the best rates, or whoever I feel have the best
with the best coverage and all that. You have to do the same thing for your home. We had one of our clients was like, well, I called the homeowner's insurance and they were saying that I could get XYZ, or I could add flood, and I could add, and I'm like, it's insurance. You have to choose
what's important.
Important to you. If you think your house is going to flood at some point in time, get flood insurance.
That's right.
You know, if you think a tornado is going to come through, get hazard insurance. You know, get the insurance, and your insurance agents are there to help you with those questions. Your real estate agent is there to help you with real estate questions. We're not lenders. We're not insurance agents. We're not closing attorneys. So, yes, do your homework. Do some research. Research homeowners insurance. Research lenders, what products they have. Research what a FHA loan is. Research what a USDA loan is. You can find everything online.
I want to interject because I agree with that. So if I have an agent, the agent gives me all of that information, right? But it's good to go and say, I know that the information that I'm receiving is valid because I did my own homework and it matches with what my agent just said.
Yes.
We did that, right?
Yes.
And I think we talked back in the previous episode about like the very first agent that we dealt with, and then we just made a decision, let's find a new agent. That we found an agent for the home that we bought. But when you learn that agent and they provide you with oh yeah, like check out this, and then you see it, then you go do your own homework, and yeah, it makes sense. Well, and then it also tells you that that person has the knowledge of their field of work.
Right.
Oh, yeah, they know what they're talking about. Okay, good. Yeah, I feel comfortable with this person.
I mean, even when we look at a business attorney, we ask them certain questions, and you want to go for that initial meeting to see if what they're saying to you aligns with what your business goals and what your business needs are.
That's right.
So I'm just saying your field, just giving an example, So, once you are getting in the process, you do want to start doing research. Yes, you can rely on your agent for input. You can rely on your agent and say, can you research this company? Do you have any knowledge of this company? And if they're a good agent, they'll be like, I'll find out. If they don't know, I'll find out for you. That's my go-to. If I don't have the answer, I'll find out for you.
I learned that from a very intelligent person about 10 years ago. And we had to do presentations, and he told us that if you're doing a presentation and someone asks you a question, don't just try to throw something off the top of your head. Say, you know what, let me get back to you.
Yeah.
And then you go and get the information and then provide it back. But it helps you to learn too. Because if you just tell someone something and they accept it, and you just kind of create it like a response off the top of your head, then you haven't improve your knowledge, right? So go and get the answer and then provide that knowledge back. So
great point. Great. So then once you have an agent, it kind of, you set up a meeting, you go through kind of everything you've researched, any questions that you have. We do very thorough meetings with the Pyramid Group. I mean, our clients come in and minimum hour on your initial meeting. But that's because we're going to analyze your credit. We're going to analyze where you are. We're going to analyze your finances, your debt to income. We're doing full-blown analysis for you when you come in.
Your needs, like what are you looking for?
Your needs analysis and everything. So you're not leaving blind to what you're getting into. You're not just, oh, well, I like this property, sign a buyer agency agreement, and you really don't know what the process entails.
Right.
So interview your agents. If you're not sure what agent you want to go with, then, call an agent up and say, I'm starting the home buying process. I really don't want to be tied to anything. What is your process as an agent? What do you do for your clients? What do you offer? Because if that agent doesn't answer those questions for you as to what they offer, then it may not be a good fit for you. You have specific needs as a customer. You're a customer as a buyer. You're a customer as a seller.
Right.
You have to make sure that that agent is going to meet your needs as that buyer or that seller.
Which is the priority.
Right.
Right. It's you who are selling your home or buying a new home. So like your needs should come first if it's realistic.
If it's
and
realistic.
Then if you have a good agent, they'll tell you. They're not going to, oh yeah, let's see what we're able to do, knowing that you're not going to qualify for a $300,000 home or whatever the case is.
I know our time's winding down. I just want to give this example real quick. So I was talking to another agent, and she was saying that she was having a conversation with an agent that had a buyer from a different state.
A lot of agents talking to agents.
We communicate. And that the particular buyer was not putting her house on the market in the other state until March. And this agent was out showing her property. And so the buyer found a house that she wanted to go under contract on. Well, in new construction, if your house isn't on the market, and in some cases under contract, you can't write a contingency contract on a new build for a lot of builders. Your house has to be under contract.
Explain that real quick. I know we got like 1 minute
We
left.
can get back to it.
Oh, we're going to get back to it. That's going to be in another show.
That's more on the seller side.
Okay.
But anyhow, as that agent, she should have told that buyer, seller/buyer, there's no point in us going to look at houses right now because your house isn't even on the market yet. You know, because what happens is you start taking people to see houses. You don't know what they're pre-approved for. You don't know if they can put a contract on the house, or you know that they can't put a contract on the house because you know there are other circumstances. You get their hopes up in seeing a house that they absolutely love just to tell them they can't put a contract on the house.
This is a great tip for the agents.
Yeah, and for buyers and sellers, because you want an agent that's going to be real with you. You want an agent that's going to tell you things that you don't want to hear, but that is going to break it down realistically so that you have real expectations, that you don't get crushed, you know. And if you supersede those expectations, great. You know, if we think that you're going to get pre-approved for 150, you go to the lender and you get pre-approved for 175, great. We've exceeded expectations, right? But we don't want to tell you you're going to get approved for $200,000 and the lender come back and tell you you're pre-approved for $140,000.
Yeah.
You know, take you to see a $200,000 house,
right,
and the lender come back and say, oh, well, they're only approved for $140,000.
Right.
So you have to vet your agent and understand who you're going to be working with.
Good deal. All right.
This was a lot of information.
Show, right?
Yeah.
Give it up, y'all. Gotta get ready to wrap it up.
Wrap it up.
Bring in the outro music.
All right.
All right, guys. We gotta have you do the outro one time.
Just one time?
Just one time.
Okay. Thank you for all of your great input today on the financial side.
I do what I can. I do what I can.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So thank you for joining us for the YMA Nation podcast, Real Estate Wednesday, episode number 33.
Next week, special guest.
Next week, special guest on Real Estate Wednesday.
I'm excited.
And make sure you hashtag YMA Nation down in the comment section to go into our cash draw-in. So we will see. We'll see you guys on Friday, right? Friday football.
Friday football.
Man, we got a lot of good topics.
Yeah. All the time in football.
All the time.
You got draft, you got recruiting, you got coaching changes, you got everything.
Maybe it'll be some more scandals going on. Hopefully not, actually. Hopefully not, guys. Thank you again for joining us. Make sure you subscribe to the channel.
View with the boss's view. You gotta sacrifice. You wanna move like bosses move.
YMA, Young Millionaires Association. Yeah, see, that's the association.